on it. And joining me now to weigh in on some of these governor's decisions and the approaching holiday is California GOP Chair Jessica Milan Patterson. Merry ho-ho to you.
Merry Christmas.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me this morning.
You bet not. Thank you for making time for us. What I'm sure, like all of us, a very busy time. Can we just start? I might be ordering off the menu here, but can we just start there with the governor pushing back against the the concealed carry? I mean, here we are, we're supposed to you get a concealed carry permit, but then you can't concealed carry anywhere. It was just ridiculous to begin with, but the governor's not backing down.
Well, I'm really grateful for the courts that we have here in California. I know, sometimes they get a really bad rap, but there are a multitude of things that are happening up in Sacramento and the legislature that are just completely unconstitutional. And thankfully, we have the courts. And you just had earlier on the discussion about the Colorado ruling. We had a similar effort here in California with SB 27 a couple years ago, where California Democrats were trying to keep President Trump off of the ballot. We took them to court. We fought them in court. We won in court with a unanimous decision at the California State Supreme Court. So I'm very grateful that we do have this backstop in this justice system that will allow when Democrats and this far regressive left that we are seeing take over our state go out there and try to blatantly do things that are unconstitutional. There's someone in there to be that check on them.
How do they square that circle? Because the left is so concerned about people being able to vote that they almost make it a 365-day process for mail-in balloting. The only thing they're concerned about is the only restriction they want to have is on who you can vote for.
It's pretty laughable when you are screaming democracy, 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 and your answer for democracy is keeping your opponents off the ballot. That says a lot about you.
All right, so let's talk more specifically about, I think what you wanted to talk about was the homeless plight here in the state of California and the governor's 10-year plan to eliminate it. He better get on the horse, because it seems like it's getting worse rather than better over the early part of that 10-year span.
Well, before we hit the Christmas holidays, we actually have to say happy anniversary. Happy anniversary to Governor Gavin Newsom, who at the time, Mayor Gavin Newsom had committed to getting rid of homelessness in San Francisco, and he had a 10-year plan to do it. He has now reached that 20-year mark. So not only did we not miss the announcement that he completed his task and that he was done early and under budget. We are $20 billion and 20 years into his failure that he has taken statewide. We just saw these HUD numbers come out earlier this week, almost 6% increase in homelessness here in California. We make up 30% of the homeless people in the country. We have 50% of those that are unsheltered here in California. His answers to this is to throw more money at it. And despite saying that this is something that he owned to Sean Hannity, just last week he was telling our counties that they needed to start doing their jobs. This is a guy who says a lot of things, and his actions just don't ever compute with what he says he will do. And
how much do those policies, those expensive policies that you're talking about in broad stroke there, and then the environmentalist policies, how much of those, when you add them all up, how much does that contribute to our budget deficit? That
right.
$68 billion. I mean, that's got to factor into that number, right?
It absolutely does. And, when we had a $100 billion surplus, you heard calls from conservatives and Republicans up in Sacramento saying we should put more away. None of this one-time spending. And now we are really seeing the repercussions of not doing that and not listening to those conservative voices. Going from a $100 billion surplus to a $68 billion deficit, it shouldn't really be a surprise to California Democrats. And the reason for that is that just in the last year, in 2022 alone, we lost over 700,000 people, many of which are high-income earners. When you lose that tax revenue because of the policies that you have put forth here in California, that should tell you you are not doing something right. Our beautiful beaches, our gorgeous mountains, our wonderful valleys, none of those views have changed. What has changed is the quality of life that people are experiencing here in California because of what California Democrats Democrats have served up.
Jessica, allow me one more question, because you referenced the fact that California, the U-Hauls going out or outnumber the U-Hauls coming in. But the U-Hauls going out are also people that are going to vote for your congressional candidates. Are you concerned that the voters that you're going to need to keep seats or gain seats are now living somewhere else?
Listen, we've been doing a fantastic job in connecting with people who are disaffected by the Democrat Party here in California, and even independents who have seen this Democrat Party go so far to the left that it's almost unbearable to vote for them anymore. And so we've seen a great increase in registration. We actually registered Democrats in the last 6-month period, which was exciting for us. We're going to continue to bring our message to all voters because we believe that we can make a difference here in California, and our candidates speak volumes to what they would do when they are elected to office.
Well, we'll leave it there. But I mean, you not only have to get those people registered, you also have to win by the margin greater than the amount of fraud that'll be in each one of these elections. So, well, we'll save that for our next conversation, okay? In the meantime,
sounds good, Paul. Merry Christmas.
Right back at you. You're always a joy to talk to, and I appreciate your time. A new grant is